In our Spotlight on Business report, travelers and others are still feeling the effects of the Microsoft system crash that happened last Friday, causing disruptions everywhere from airports to banks. The breakdown was the result of a software update on Microsoft systems from the U.S. cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike. Now, Microsoft is offering a free tool to help fix the faulty update that impacted millions of users, and CrowdStrike is warning of a potential hacking threat as users and companies work to fix the issue. I'm joined now by Mark Guthner from the Rutgers Business School to discuss the lingering impact of the outage and what's being done to prevent another one. Mark, thanks so much for coming on. Can you just help us understand why we saw this massive global crash last week? What happened there?
Okay, well, well, first of all, thank you for having me on. This is a situation where efficiency is sort of clashing with stability. So what we're seeing in the technology world is everything becoming more and more centralized. And so what that does is it creates a single point of failure. And in this case, if you think about CrowdStrike, I think they have about 250 of the S&P 500 stocks dependent upon their platform. So if they have a problem on their platform, 250 of the largest companies have a problem. And so there's a very small probability that this happens, but when it does happen, it's a catastrophe.
So what do these failures indicate about our vulnerabilities? Because they're, like you said, we're all kind of working off of the same systems.
Yeah, so the systems need to build some kind of redundancy. And that's sort of antithetical about what's been going on, because to make systems more and more efficient, you centralize, you put everything in one spot. And now, if you're going to create redundancy, you're essentially going to have the same thing happening someplace else. And so a lot of, financial firms might have a transaction take place, and then they have a duplicate of that transaction taking place on another server somewhere, and that's how they create redundancy. And they don't make mistakes when transactions are recorded and processed. So this is a little bit tougher, and so now we're gonna have to step back, maybe be a little bit less efficient, and companies are gonna have to be much more careful, or these large companies that everybody's so dependent upon, about how they do their updates. And so, one of the things that happened with this update is they pushed it out, and then all of a sudden, all their customers got updated at the same time. And what companies are going to have to do is update in a piecemeal fashion. So you think about if they were to update, let's say 1% of their customers. Okay, that worked. Let's do another 1%. It looks like it's working. We can roll it out more broadly. But
in just a little bit of time that we have left, I'm just going to ask you, as we've seen, it's been days since the crash. What have been the industries that have been the most impacted, and how do they get their systems back up and running?
Okay, what I've been saying is the airlines have been having the biggest problems, and airports, some airports are kind of empty, because that controls planes going in and out, and if there's a problem there, that costs lives. Less so, even my bank went down for a while, but they were able to get up and back running again. We're fortunate in the financial services industry that there was no real economic issue or events going on that would give people angst if they couldn't transact or hedge, be that individuals or hedge funds or any kind of institutional investors. So we kind of dodged a bullet on that front.
Yeah, so a lot to think about in terms of how companies move forward. You raised some really interesting points there. Mark Guthner, Associate Professor in Economics and Finance at the Rutgers Business School. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.